Okay, now we're going live on Instagram. Let's see if we're live on Instagram yet. Let's see if we're live on Instagram. Let's get that link done. Okay, let's see. As soon as we can confirm we're live on Instagram, we are good. Okay. Now let's see. Almost there, almost there. All right, so let's begin. Now, this is a Blockchain Mastery Podcast. My name is Titi Oyinsan, and it's always a pleasure going live with you online. Now, we do this each and every week, and at any point in time, if you would like to be on the program, if you'd like to be on the podcast, we can always have you join us sometime soon. All you have to do is send us an email. That's dynamitepodcastnetwork@gmail.com. It's Dynamite Podcast Network at gmail.com. And as soon as you do, we will get back to you. Today's topic is an interesting one that I have a feeling you're going to really learn from. And we have a really interesting individual joining us on Blockchain Mastery today. Of course, it's all about blockchain technology, the opportunities and possibilities for the future. And each and every time we have these conversations, I myself learn something new, learn something fresh. Let me just go through some of the jottings I have here for you. So we're not talking about anything too simple today. We're talking about Web3 security, analyzing Web3 security reports and data. Now, as it sounds a lot, but we're not just talking about general security concerns today. We're going to be deep diving into data, reports, analysis that reveal the trends and challenges. And we have a solutions developer, we have a tech enthusiast, someone who is curious and has dug deep into this particular field. If you are someone just like that who wants to understand a bit more about the decentralized web and the future, today's conversation is for you. Today, we'll be having David Egorp. He's a researcher, podcast manager, and he's someone that's agreed to talk to us today on this particular topic. Why? Because Web3, the next iteration of the internet built on blockchain technology, promises to, it promises transparency, it promises decentralization, it promises user empowerment. But with great innovation comes new challenges. Security in Web3 has become a major area of focus, especially as decentralized finance, that's DeFi and NFTs and other blockchain applications continue to explode in popularity. From smart contract vulnerabilities to phishing attacks to governance risks, Web3 security has become a hot topic in the tech world. And David Egorp, with the alias Drones, is an industry expert. He brings a really unique blend of creativity and analysis to the world of tech. Now he's also a podcast manager, like myself. And he's part of a platform called What's Podcasting. The Evening Dew podcast is also a co-host on that as well, where he breaks down and analyzes reports, topics in tech, business, and the Nigerian economy. It's great to have you here with us, David, or should I call you Drones? How's it going?
Good. Good evening. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. You are so welcome. There's so much to add to my intro today because the topic is a really wide one, but hopefully we can should I use the term dumb it down? break it down in a way that most people can, at least gather or understand. Now, I say this because there's just so much in this particular field people don't understand. But maybe we should connect with you first by having you share a bit about your background and how you got involved in analyzing tech reports, especially when it comes to Web3.
Okay, thank you very much. My name is David Egorp. You can call me Drones. There's a long history of how I started going by that name, but thanks to my friend Prince. However, when it comes to analyzing data and the whole of Web3 space, I would say it is from the podcast, The Evening Dew. So we started the podcast where we look at tech industry, try and like bring out quick big news that are on the go, daily news that people can listen to. And the easiest way to do that is to take all the chunk that all the big news publications put out and allow you to take hours of maybe say longer time to read and then break that down so that you can easily understand it. That's where the whole thing started from. So we've been putting out each episode every day for about 100, close to 100 days now. Like this week we'll make 100 days, and doing something specifically for that long, it gives you room to learn how to break things down. And in the Web3 space, I have been a designer, a product designer for 4 years. So I've been in the tech space. I have dabbled around product design, built products around that. So I have that understanding of how the products and user experience should work. And then the security aspect was something that just caught my eye recently. And I'm like, this is a problem that people have not really observed on. And looking at that report was just, was like, okay, this is something to talk about. This is something to like point people on and they should build for, because we're not just consumers in Africa. Like we are a lot of developers here building on the blockchain. We should not just be consumers, but also people who build for it for other people to consume. And this data can help us get there. So that's how I got to that.
You need to sort of help us break down or give us an overview of some of the key security challenges currently facing the Web3 ecosystem. Is that something you can break down for us real quick?
Uh, yeah, sure. So the thing here about the Web3 space is there's a lot of people building for a lot of blockchain ecosystem and a lot of platforms. So as we know, there's Ethereum, there's Solana, there's so many platforms you can build for. Now, when you talk about like the security issues, and to break that down, is we have like four major opportunities or four major loopholes. One is the natural, we can't really solve that. We can only teach people, which is the educational part of it, the educational vulnerability of the security issues we have on the blockchain. That is human behavior, right? It's natural human behavior. The second one is phishing attacks, which is like the second, I think it was 2023. When we get to the data, I'll talk about it more. In 2023, that was one of the major ways in which people were using to hack accounts. And then the third, or the fourth, yeah, the third one here now is now how are they using to hack the account and which chain are they using to hack the account. So we would want to look at it from the human behavior aspects, that right? Then we want to look at the how. The first one, which is the phishing attack, natural behavior issues. Then we look at the phishing, which is the second one. Then third one is the how. Those are the really, really like very important ways I want to point. I can break it down from there, but I hope that answers the question.
So I honestly, I love the way you broke it down there. I have um, just a general mindset about how Web3 works for the average user. And when I say average user, I mean someone who is not working with it every day, but
Yeah.
wants to take advantage of what's going on in that particular space. I'm talking about like using decentralized apps, dApps, right?
Mhm.
Now the average DApp, like right now, I can literally order, I can book a flight ticket now based on dApps. I can order food based on dApps. I can replenish my credit based on dApps. But then there's so many other things that dApps have created a space for, which also are considered like vulnerabilities. You
Yeah.
know, so in terms of those vulnerabilities, what are the trends that you've observed most recently in those reports that we've been talking about?
Okay. I'll double down and go back again to human behavior. So human behavior is the number one reason why most of the attacks have happened this whole year, from 2023 down to the first half of this year, because the report I was looking at from CTEC was 2023 and first half of this year. Human behavior is number one, meaning like private key compromises, right? And phishing is the number one way in which accounts are being hacked. Nothing beats that. Private key compromises, we have phishing, and then exit scams. If I was to say these are the major vulnerabilities, or if I say, okay, wake me up around 3 a.m. and tell me one problem that I think we should work on, is human behavior, meaning people are getting hacked using their either phishing links that they didn't know applied in their email or something, private key compromise, dropping their key in a place they don't know, if they use a ledger, misplacing that ledger, or if by mistake somebody finds out their key or find out how to hack their system. And how do people get there? If you analyze this, we can see that 47 incidents happened in just 2020. In 2023, 47 incidents happened on the chain. And then out of that 47 incidents on private key compromises, $880 million was lost specifically for just private key compromises alone.
Wow.
And if you look at phishing attacks, they had 55 incidents and we lost $207 million.
Wow.
These were the largest amount of money lost. Like if you combine amongst all the other methods of vulnerabilities, and this is just these two alone. If you then say, okay, let's skip to other part of the vulnerabilities we have, this was 2023, exit scams and code vulnerabilities. Exit scams, as we know, there are all these scams where they promise you a certain token will become something, and that's how
Yeah.
you can use the token. And after a while, poof, you never ever hear of the token again, or it never becomes something. Now,
But
exit scam just
those are not as many as they used to be now, because I feel like
exactly.
people are able to identify those issues early on, or to a certain extent, they're beginning to know the red flags. Or am I wrong?
Yes, you're not wrong. Now, I would say if you think about it that way, it would
Mm,
point to the reason why the number of the amount of money lost is
mm,
less, but the
okay.
amount of incidents we had of exit scam 2023 is 306.
Mm,
Now, if you compare that to the first half of this year alone, there is a significant difference. This year we've had like lesser number of exit scams because, as you said, people are more aware. People now know, okay, this is not a thing I should waste my time on. But
mm.
for 2023, now before we get to 2024, 2023 it was 306 incidents, and we just lost 152 million compared to 800 millions from private key compromises. That's small money. So like
Yeah.
these are just vulnerabilities that yeah.
So I'm not sure if you have any idea the main okay, so what people are working on with regards securing these platforms a bit more. So for instance now, um the phishing attacks, right? And then, of
Yeah.
course, you mentioned human error. Is it just enlightenment? Is it training? What exactly can you do to make sure that that number, that crazy statistic of basically private keys? One of the blockchain 101 trainings I went for was like, okay, keep your private keys private. Don't tell people. Don't share it. Don't even write it down. Don't copy and paste it into your email. Those are some of the basics they teach you when you go into blockchain. But how can we make sure that these things sort of at least reduce, even if they don't stop?
Now, at the end of my, don't worry, I think I will be able to show that. At the end of this, like, because I had a talk recently in Web3 Bridge, and
Okay.
this particular question came to me when I was preparing my slide for that.
Okay.
And there are four things we should look at if we want to solve this problem. First of all, as you said, you want to educate people more.
Mm,
Education is number one. You can like it. The blockchain is relatively new. As much as it has been here for a while, the noise is going out. You can now use it every day. It is still relatively new. So education is number one way we can stop this. Even regular Web2 stuff that we do, people calling people and say, "Oh, your bank wants this," and it's still a
mm,
scam that goes on up to now. And
yeah.
education is the only way. Early this year, I think like 3 months ago, my grandmother just got her first bank account, and she's in the Web2 space. Like she just got her first bank account, and the evening when she got back home, right, they called and they scammed her of all the money in the account. And luckily for us, she got the account. They just put 5K in the account. I told her to go and use it. And they collected her 5,000. She had to go back and get a new card. Education was the problem. She didn't know better. So education is number one solution. If people can build
Wow.
educational platforms or tools that educate people, or all this, like being a designer, the as my age being a designer, there's this thing where you log into a platform for the first time. We often get to design this a lot, where you have like a tutorial that asks you, oh, this is how you do this here, this is how you do
Yeah.
this here.
Yeah.
If we can integrate more of that into the apps that we build, the blockchain interface, it will really help people that are just logging into for the first time to understand,
Sure.
okay, this are security measures. Education is number one. Number two is key management solutions. On the Web2's chain right now, and how we do things on the Web2, we have. Sorry, am I talking too fast?
No,
I
no,
should
no.
calm
Please go
down.
ahead. Please go ahead. Please go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, we have password managers, right? The password managers are number one ways in which, like, many people that are already aware of the system use. Like, we can't remember all our passwords, and we are not supposed to use the same passwords all the time. So
Mm.
definitely we have different passwords for different things. So on the chain and different chains that we use or we want to use to do anything and we are building for, it will be very, very important we have password managers for each of this. So you can imagine Ethereum. Now, looking at the same data, Ethereum is the most attacked on amongst all of them. Ethereum
Really?
gets most of the attacks amongst all
Why
other
is
chains.
that? Why is that? Is it because they
Like,
focus on functionality more than security, or what do you think?
I think it's because many people are building for it. Now, Solana is slowly getting there,
Yeah.
but whether I like it or not, Ethereum after Bitcoin is Ethereum where many people are building for, right? Like
Sure.
it is easier for us to do stuff. It has a stable foundation that we have known,
Mm.
right? And then there's much more money from the early people. Like most people that are coming to blockchain are aware of Ethereum to build for before they hear of Solana, before they hear of blockchain. I think that's why. So
Okay.
yeah, that's yeah. So I'll just stop at these two so that we can go further. It's like education
Of
and then
course.
key
All
management
right.
solution, password managers for this
So
chain.
let's talk about DeFi protocols specifically, the ones that address security concerns. I'm not sure how many protocols there are presently, but how effective they've been is part of the conversation.
Please say that again. Sorry.
Okay, so I'm basically asking about the DeFi protocols that exist right now. How do those protocols address these security concerns that we've already broken down?
Okay, sorry. Currently my research didn't cover that aspect, so I can't
Okay,
give you.
no problem. No problem at all. I'm thinking about moving forward to developers and how they've come together to build more secure applications. What exactly are the things that they are putting in place from your end? What have you noted that people are putting in place to secure their platforms better?
Okay, so I know somebody who is in this space, and there's one thing he always says all the time is, um, it's very very tricky, right? But if you get if you get your key, maybe of your seed phrase or something, whether you like it or not, when you get your seed phrase, instead of leaving it or copying it or taking a picture of it like most people do or screenshotting it, please write it on paper. Like write it down on paper. Like write everything down on paper. Keep it in your jotter, in your wallet. Keep it somewhere close to you. Now, it is harder for somebody who is watching you online, right, to find where you kept your seed phrase on your
Mm,
computer because it's in paper somewhere safe. Right?
yeah.
Even though that can be easily lost,
Mm.
he will always say this. He'll say,
So
keep
paper
this
can't be hacked. Essentially, paper can't be hacked. That's
it
what you
can be
just.
hacked.
Okay.
Except somebody in your house come and find you and know that okay, this is your seed phrase and they carry it. But keep it that's number one way. Then we
Mm.
can look at other tools like I say password management tools that are being
You
built.
mentioned that
So
already.
this yeah, so just two major ways for this.
Mm. So I've had that conversation with people before when they essentially first open a wallet for the first time. And I'm literally on their case about, look, have you written down this seed phrase? Have you written it down? How did you write it down? Did you write all caps? Did you write it in all sentence
See,
case?
exactly.
Did you write it one after the other? Did you write it side by side? Where's the paper?
Save
So
it, save it
essentially,
somewhere.
exactly. So I'm not sure how secure this is, and you should let me know. So eventually, what I make them do is take a picture of it,
Mm-hmm.
email the picture to themselves, and then label the email. So how safe is that?
Now that is safe as long as your email doesn't get hacked.
Okay,
As
so
long as
obviously you're not labeling the email with "this is my seed phrase," right? But
Mhm.
you're attaching it into an email that you've sent to yourself. If that makes sense.
Yeah, that make like as long as your email doesn't get hacked, right?
Okay.
Because if, for example, if I'm looking for a password, now
Mm,
thinking like a hacker, if I'm
mm,
looking for a password and I'm inside a junk of your full email,
yeah.
um, and I'm trying to find your password, the
Mhm.
first thing I would think about is how does a password look like and how is a password being safe? Like, I mean, this thing that you said right now is
Mm,
safe as long as the person had password, the email doesn't get hacked. If
okay.
you can imagine how a password should look like for the first 5 digits or how a seed phrase should look like for the first 5 digits, all you
Mm,
need to do is find those exact words that are that way and then search for that. If you have to look for emails with attached, that's the first place they will start from. Now I'm thinking like a hacker.
okay. Thinking like
I,
a hacker.
I,
Okay. All
I will
right.
start searching with attached,
You're
and
not
then
saying you're a
fine.
hacker, but you're thinking like a
Um,
hacker.
it's just an illustration for this example,
Okay.
but
Okay.
yeah, as long as it is safe, you can. Another like a good, like you just said now, a good thing to do is if you can change the format of an image. So back in the days now, I had this friend where this I think it was 2018, 2019, where now we used to play games and we used to have different file for the game. So to easily hide the file of that game, right, or the things that we get from that game, so that when we're sending stuff or give somebody our phone to use them, that they won't carry that file. What we
Mm,
do is change the format. So you change
okay.
the format of a JPEG to an MP4, and
Okay.
if you search for a JPEG file, you will never find it because it's now an MP4. But if you change
Fantastic.
that format back from an MP4 into a JPEG, you will see it. So if you
Sure.
change the image format on your phone, and it's really easy. All you just go is just when you get the image, you go to the file where it's stored, rename it, go
Rename
change
it
it for
and
doc. Yeah, change it to a docx file, change it
mm,
to a HTML file, or anything you want, and now
yeah.
you can save that file. As you said, maybe send it to yourself by email. So it's
Mm.
a little bit confusing to find, even though they hack you. So yeah.
All right. All right. Okay. So at least that's one of the tips we're giving out for free today. And hopefully someone is noting that down. But it's also something that you could even use, even basically with your normal fiat banking system.
Yeah.
A lot of people, even up to their BVN, they still save it in their phone book, and uh, they get hacked. And the way you laughed now is like, yeah, saving your BVN inside your phone book. Like, really, that's supposed to be a
ah,
private,
yeah.
number. But let's move on. Let's talk a bit about some of the emerging trends. Zero knowledge proofs, multi-signature wallets, etc., etc. What are the emerging trends in Web3 security right now? What are the things people are doing?
Hmm. Um, I'll give you an idea of what I have. My research didn't cover out to this point when it comes to the trends because it was mainly focused on these reports
Okay.
from CTEC. But one trend that I got from the Web3 Bridge event I was at is people building for these technologies, right? Um, how do I put it? They are building mainly to, how will I say, they are. Um, I don't want to deviate from the security trend because most of what
Of
I
course,
saw is people building
of course, of course.
technologies that
So let's talk a bit about what was in the report then. Let's talk about what was in the report. What was
Okay.
really key about the report that was alarming, I guess, based on statistics, but then also based on what the new realities are?
Okay. Now, one thing is the overall security of the chain is,
Mm,
you can say, safer. There are two ways to look at it, right? You can say either it's safer, right, or people are beginning to put more money, and even though it's not safe, meaning we lost 1.19 billion dollars
mm,
in the first half of 2024 this year, right, across 480 chains. If you compare that to what we lost last year, we can see that this year's zone is reduced. Let me give you the exact number of what it is. Let me not call.
sure. Go ahead.
Um,
Go ahead.
yeah. So yes, last year, 2023, private key compromises lost 880 million damages across 47 incidents, and this year, private key compromises was 480 million across 42 incidents. Right. If we look at this trend, we can see that the security is safer. People are beginning to lose lesser amount of money, and the incidents are dropping. Right. What
Okay.
this points us, number one, either or people are putting less money for there to be hacked. And if we go through the route of the less money in the chain, which is not true, we can't say it's less money because now the blockchain is more popular. We have more people using it. FTX didn't really, like, even though it affected, people are still using it, and like it's more popular than it was last year. Um,
Sure.
I would say it's becoming safer overall.
Mm,
That is what I would take from that report based on my analysis, right? Um, that same report points us to the fact that nearly 50% of all losses, right, across the whole chain was from private key compromise as compared
yeah,
to this year, 2020. That was
sure.
last year. This year, 2024, phishing attacks took the lead of all incidents. That's 150 incidents. Another thing, this particular thing is pointing out was, we are on the blockchain, we are in the Web3 space, but emails that is on the web 2 is how people are getting hacked. So
Wow.
people who are building for the blockchain need to build the web 3 version of what we have now as emails, which would be
Sure.
relatively safer than what we have now. Like, people are using the web 2 to hack us on the web 3, phishing attacks, and this is just this year. If we have lost if we have lost just 497 million dollars in the first half of this year, how much
Mm,
would we lose compared to next year?
mm.
Compared to when the report for the end of this year comes out, because it will come out, I think, in December, first week or second week of December, we'll see that report. Um, yeah. So I think this is. Let me stop here now, so you ask more questions
No,
before I
no,
move.
no, 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 no issues. I'm thinking about what the future holds now. 2024 is coming to an end. It's soon coming to an end, and um, I'm wondering if um, the fear has sort of reduced. Are people actually using Web3 a lot more or a lot less? Or are they bringing in more money or bringing in less money? Um, for those who are probably wondering, you know what, I want to take advantage of this Web3 space, what's the advice you would give them?
Do it, because here's the thing. So on my slide, I asked a question, right? It was, we are building a better future. Whether the future is for us now, we can't tell. Whether the future is for the people who come before us, or come after us, we can't tell. But we're building a better future. We rather attempt to build that future than sit down and not do anything. So if for anybody coming to the Web3 space, please come, please build it, please use it. The reason being, like, we are building a better future, and only with time can we define what a better future is and what it will look like and what it will feel like. We can only imagine it now, but if we don't build for it, if we don't use it ourselves, we can never really know what it is. There's a thing that I sent to my guys on the team, which is a quote from Steve Jobs, where he was like, they should remove all the typewriters at the Apple office early back then when they started, saying if they really believe in the products they are building at Apple, they should use Apple mark for everything. They should not use typewriters no more. And relatively, that made the product better. And it's the same thing I'm saying now. If we want to build a better future, we have to use what we are building for. We have to use the Web3 space. We have to consume it. It may be difficult now, but that's the best way to get there. So,
Is there anything interesting that anybody's building that you heard about that's really exciting you of recent?
oh, yeah. So there's this guys, I think I still have their link up, Custos. They are building a way, Custos, yes.
That's
They are
K.
No, not KC. Let me find that link so I just know that I'm spelling it correctly.
Okay.
So it is CU. Um,
Okay.
I got their link recently. I was looking at
Yes.
their product recently. I will explain it briefly. So they are
Okay.
trying to build something that allows people to, send files, and you don't get to pay for what's it called, gas fee no more. They pay all the gas fee for you when you need your files.
Okay.
They give you back. Yeah, it's a safe on the blockchain. Now, Custos will secure. Yeah,
Like how
you
many
say?
gig are we talking about? How many terabyte are we talking about? How many gig files? So like in other words, like a we transfer on the blockchain.
Exactly, like a WeTransfer on the blockchain. You don't have to
Wow.
pay like for no now if you want to send, so you have to pay gas fees for all these transactions. You don't
Sure,
have
sure.
to anymore. They pay the gas fees for you, and they do every other thing. Your documents,
Okay.
smart
Can
contracts,
can
also.
you find this link for me, please? Find this link for me before.
I've,
No time,
I
no time.
have I have found it. Um, I'll send it to. Okay, how can I? I'll
The
send it
chat
to
in
this
the
guy.
chat box, in the chat box, just send it there in the private chat box. Let me see if I can share the screen.
Okay.
Um, so what I have here is CUSTOS. Is that it?
Custos. Yes, Custos
Dot.
direct with a Z. Directz.com. I will send that to
Okay.
you now.
Okay.
Um, so what they are building is basically allowing you to
Wait,
control
dot
and
com or dot io?
.com.
Dot com. Okay, fantastic. All right, I'm gonna check it out now. Let's see what we have. Please, if you have the link, please send it to me.
So like they are yet to launch, but I've been like following them through. I have like connections with the founders, and they are
Okay,
really doing amazing stuff there. So
fantastic.
yeah. This link that you pasted here is the correct link.
Okay, fabulous. Got you, got you, got you, got you.
Have you been able to?
I'll
Can you
be
see
checking
it?
it. I'll be checking it out myself. I promise you,
Okay.
because I'm
Yeah.
looking for files, man. Everybody needs it. Everybody needs stuff like this. And you say the gas fees are way low. What chain are they using? What chain are they
Um, I
using?
think I think they're building for Solana at this point. Based on my conversation, I'm
It
not
feels like
certain, but
everyone is building on Solana. It feels like they've let go of Ethereum chain. Is it because of the high gas fees? Is it because of security? Is it just because Ethereum is considered old school or they don't like Vitalik? What exactly is the reason why
yeah,
everybody's Solana?
I think it's money though. I think
Mm,
is to me, I think it's a financial incentive
mm.
to Solana compared to Ethereum and the rest. Even though Ethereum is still like for me, Ethereum still has a long way to go. Ethereum will still do. It's still flexible for most people, right? Compared to Solana. So um, yeah, Solana I think is just a financial incentive. That's why people are going for Solana. But that's
Fantastic.
just a wild case. Yeah.
Now, David, or should I call you? Should I call you David or should I call you Drones? I don't know. Dro-
Anyone that you feel comfortable with, I'm fine.
All right, so let's wrap up with you telling us the story of how you started being called Drones. Let's wrap up with that.
Oh, nice. So it was in school. So I schooled in Abuja. Um, Now I finished my secondary school from Faith Academy Goshen, but before then, I had this friend. We went through secondary school through different schools together, coincidentally. His name is Prince. Now they were looking for a name to give me, because I always used to break stuff, fix them. I was kind of like those guys in class that you can give them your calculator and they'll find a way to fix it. They'll give them, your broken toy and they'll find a way to fix it. I was that guy. So they gave me stuff. It was a tech name. It was like, oh, this guy is the guy can fix stuff. He was techie, and they were looking for a techie name to give me. We came up with many names. I can tell you some of them are Egorp. There's Egorpri. There's Gopi. There's
Wow.
and then one night Prince was like, he's going to call me Drones. and drones
Wow.
was being. I was like, why? It was like drones flies. You sounded techie, and it just stuck. And everybody started calling me drones, and I
All
like the
right.
name.
Well, I have you on LinkedIn right now. I'm checking you out on LinkedIn. That's
Yeah.
Egorp Drones David. And I just want to take this opportunity to share your page, which is What's Podcasting, right?
Yes, thank you very much.
What's
It's a
Podcasting? I'm going
company
to
that
take this
manages
opportunity.
podcasts for
I found
people.
it just now. I don't know where it went to, but let me try and find it. Um, because I really appreciate the fact that you're also podcasting about tech. What other topics are you focused on with What's Podcasting?
So it's mostly tech. That's the thing that I know I can talk about for
Mm.
hours. But aside tech, I tell stories. So we recently made a podcast that is it's an audio drama. It's called Lay Your Head.
Okay.
Um, so voiceovers, editing, it's a full immersive experience, an audio drama experience. And yeah,
Okay.
so outside of tech, you can find me either riding my bicycle or
Okay.
telling
So
stories.
I have the site open right here on the screen now, and if you can't see it, if you're listening to this, you can always just visit whatspodcasting.vzy.io. That's whatspodcasting.vzy.io. And there's a newsletter there. There are other tech podcasts right there. I think we should talk so that maybe you can host some of mine on your platform as well sometime soon. What do you think,
I
Drones?
think that'll be fine. Where you are right now, the page you are on,
Yeah.
if you go to at the top, you see our podcast there. If you click on our podcast,
Okay. I'm
um,
checking it out now. Your
yeah,
podcast.
no,
Um, which one?
you see, yeah,
The list.
our podcast.
The list.
Now
Okay.
that's yeah. So these are the list of specific podcasts that we manage. Like we have our hand in like working on them.
Okay.
So yeah,
Fantastic.
those ones there.
I'm loving what I'm seeing. I'm loving what I'm seeing. Nice work. Last week was Friday. I like that name. Four guys tried to leave the matrix with discussions on tech, economics, entrepreneurial, and business, and as they build their careers. That sounds like an amazing synopsis there. The Blueprint series inside the design systems of leading African companies. That's a nice one too. Not just design podcasts. These all sound so interesting. I just want to start listening right now, but I can't because I'm
Yeah.
talking to you and I'm doing no podcast. But drones, it's we're pushing it on time now. But thank you so much for talking to us today. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Titi, for having me here. I really appreciate it. Looking forward to having another episode with you.
Of
Thank you.
course, of course. If you are thinking of reaching out to drones privately, you can just check him out on LinkedIn. That's Egorp David. That's Egorp Drones David. Drones is with a Z or with a Z, depending on where you're listening to us from. And once you connect with him, I know he'll be able to answer your questions. All right, then, David.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you so much. Okay, so we are wrapping it up on blockchain mastery for today. But as always, I'm going to give you a little brief news update about what's happening in the world of blockchain today. And now, former Alameda Research CEO Caroline Ellison wants to keep her supporters' personal information private at her upcoming sentencing. And a survey shows that crypto has become a US presidential election topic. Meanwhile, fines imposed on crypto companies by the United States Security and Exchange Commission in 2024 have risen over 3,000% from last year. Here are some of the details. Now, on the Caroline Edison issue, she wants to redact the names at the upcoming sentencing. Now, attorneys representing Ellison are seeking to redact the names and personal information of individuals who wrote letters of support for the former Alameda Research CEO. Now, the request made by Ellison's attorney, Anjan Sani, was one that people didn't really see coming. But well, maybe they did. Maybe they did. But it was filed on September 9th, and that was in the Southern District of New York. And according to the filing, the support letters could contain private information about Ellison's current living arrangements, which could put her at risk of continued harassment if publicized. Now, Ellison has rarely been seen in the public space since testifying at the criminal trial of former FTX CEO Sam Bankman-Fried. Now, the sentencing is scheduled for September 24th. And of course, we are watching this particular story. Now, we've been talking about crypto and blockchain becoming a US election issue quite a bit on Blockchain Mastery. And now it's now an election issue by survey for the very first time. Now, cryptocurrencies like BTC, that's Bitcoin, they're likely going to play a role in the upcoming US presidential election, as increasing numbers of US crypto investors are concerned about the candidates' approaches to regulating that particular industry. Now, the vast majority of crypto owners in the US plan to consider the crypto regulation stance of US presidential candidates in the election in November, according to this new report by Winklevoss. Now, Winklevoss twins founded crypto exchange Gemini. It was released on the 10th of September, and the latest says Global State of Crypto report is featuring a survey of 6,000 adults, representing a random sample of consumer population in the US. Now, not just the US, the United Kingdom, France, Singapore, and Turkey are also represented. The survey was conducted online on May 23rd, from May 23rd to June 28th. And according to Gemini's findings, as many as 73% of US respondents who currently own crypto said that a candidate's stance on crypto would have some impact on their vote. Additionally, another 37% of respondents indicated that a presidential candidate's position on crypto would have a significant impact on their vote. So yeah, that's one more time. You have 73% say it has some impact, and 37% say it has significant impact. Interesting, right? Now, for the first time in the US history, crypto has become a significant campaign issue in a presidential election. Interesting stuff. Now, the SEC crypto enforcement hits about $4.7 billion this year, rising about 3,000% from 2023. And so, yeah, the SEC has imposed nearly $4.7 billion worth of enforcement actions, according to this particular report, against crypto firms this year. And that is a major jump. 3,000% jump is not a small thing. The regulators' 11 enforcement actions in 2024 have seen it net about 3,018% increase from the $150.3 million worth of fines last year, despite taking 19 fewer actions against crypto firms. The SEC's record setting was boosted by a massive $4.47 billion settlement with Terraform Labs and ex-boss Do Kwon in June. And the trend is indicating a strategic shift by the SEC towards fewer but larger fines, with a focus on making high-impact enforcement actions that set precedent for the entire industry. Now, that's all we have when it comes to what's up and about in the world of crypto right now. Crypto news comes to you once in a while, on the Blockchain Mastery podcast. And of course, it's always a pleasure being your host. Now, if you would like to be part of the podcast sometime soon, it's easy. It's really simple. All you have to do is send us an email. Just send it to dynamitepodcastnetwork@gmail.com. That's dynamitepodcastnetwork@gmail.com. Send us an email and we will get back to you. All right, then. Thanks so much for your comments, contributions,